probably she has passed on the menses and she could be smelling. So it became the responsibility of the soldier to have this woman washed. And how did he do it? He will fetch water from this tank and have her washed. Women from the other dungeons load on. Now after this humiliation, she is dressed up and offered a little food to eat. Then from a point we call the private access to the governor's bedroom, she's taken up on the stairs there for the governor to prepare. Yeah. Now let's check it out. Let's check Now this woman, after she is cleaned, is made to walk up these stairs to a point we call trapdoor. From there to the governor's bedroom. Now after the governor has raped her, she is brought back down into the dungeon. Instances where they could even tell you that before they were brought down, they could have been used by some other men, other guys there. Yeah. And very few of them became mistresses and stayed up there longer. And those who became pregnant were subsequently freed or liberated. But we need to know, most of these women did not come from today's Ghana. Some came as far back as Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, Senegal, and other places. So it was difficult for her to go back to where she came from. And secondly, the Europeans never wanted their kids or babies to go anyhow. So some houses were built outside the precinct of this castle where these pregnant women were kept. When they delivered, their kids were brought back into the castle to be educated. So it is said that formal education started within the walls of this castle. But then sadly, they were educated to be used as a bridge between them and the Africans. And some of them, those who call them mulattoes, some of them, when they even grew up, they did not want to associate with the Africans because they were eating good food, they were brainwashed. Yeah, they were brainwashed. Eating good food, wearing good clothes, and they were educated here. They were brainwashed, as you said. Yeah. And also the European gave out names to their babies. Yeah. And that is the genesis of most European names along the coast.
Williams.
So here in Elmina, we have people who call themselves Williams, Da Foster, Da Silva, De Via, Van Dyke, Van der Poel, Van Ness, Hutchison, Peterson, Jefferson, Jackson, Richardson, Jansen, Oberson, and Samson, and all the Simpsons is being talked about here. They are all in that category. Let's continue.
Go ahead. All right.
So whenever the ship comes, they were examined thoroughly.
Because making a woman whether the woman has STD or
how so they had sentence around. They were examining them. And most of the merchants were not even interested in pregnant captives. So when the ship arrived, they examined them thoroughly. Yeah, they check your feet to determine your age. Yeah, they throttle your muscles to see if you are fit for the job. Yeah, this is a cannon ball. At the time, we had 8 of such balls here, and it has chains and shackles connected to it. Now, these balls were used to punish the women who were difficult to handle. Now, a difficult woman to handle was the one who would resist to be used by the soldier of the government. So they were pulled out of the dungeons. They had these chains fettered to their legs. They were meant to stand in the sun and in the rain without food, without water. They were just doing it to put fear into Yadis so that whenever the governor calls, they will be in haste to respond to him. It weighs 25 kg. Maybe you can try lifting it.
Oh, I can take some maybe so. You want me to take it?
I'd be shackled, but I wouldn't be moving anyway.
Here you are. Now let's come over here, please.
You're a wicked man.
Right now, this used to be one of the dungeons for the women. And over here, we are talking about 100 of them. Now, when you look on the floor, you will see some red cloth there. These are not original clothes used by the captives. Somewhere in 2015 July, we had a program here called The Return of the Slaves. We had Africans from 48 Africans from all over the world volunteered to stay here at night just to reenact the story. So when they got in here, they took off their clothes. They put this around their waist just to cover their nakedness, put themselves back in chains. You could see chains, they put themselves back in chains. And during the night, if you needed to respond to any nature's call, you were allowed to do it here. In the morning, when this door was opened, we all could not stand here, because of the heat and the smell. Of course, we didn't find anybody vomiting, defecating, but for urine alone, we could not stand here.
And for how many days?
For one night, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Really?
12 hours. Yeah.
Imagine someone being here for a month.
Absolutely. So what we all concluded is, no matter how hard somebody tells you the story about the captives here, you cannot be in any position to comprehend what actually happened here. A lady at the center was saying that in the middle of the night she felt wet. Now waking up to see what the problem was, this young guy weeping all over himself. And another one also remarked that she realized that the difference between somebody in prison and the one in the dungeon will be the fact that the person in prison knows why he or she is there and possibly when he or she is going to go out. But not the case for the person in the dungeon, because when he was captured, he was never told where he was being taken to.
And I can tell you, even from that explanation, he didn't put much light in it because it was one day.
Yes.
It was one day.
So
imagine someone being here for months.
Sometimes 200 months.
Yes.
Just waiting on that revelation. It was a bizarre situation.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Oh, you can ask.
I've seen
Some breeds. We haven't varied one. No, we have some of these African, you are welcome. We have these some of African Americans who come here. When they come, they allow to lay roots. Yeah. And we organize Panafest here over the years. So during that, we have a program called Akaba. And during that, we welcome everybody here. And as part of that, we say all kinds of prayers and lay wreath. So from that time on, anyone who comes here and would want to lay a wreath is allowed. Yeah, I think last 2 months we had the ambassador from the United States here. Yeah, Evelyn Pamela. She laid some wreaths and we've had a series of them here.
Pamela Harris.
No, Pamela. Evelyn Pamela, U.S. ambassador to Ghana.
Oh, U.S. ambassador.
Yeah.
Besides all the days that people who died in the dungeon.
Yes.
So people died here.
Yeah, people died here. Yeah. And as I said, those who died here will go to see. Any other question? Okay, then let's continue. We're taken out of the dungeons, put back in chains, and they were meant to walk this way to the final stage. Now, when they got in here, some of them were branded. When I talk about branded, they had stamps with initials and symbols of legend. So they place it in the fire in the room there. So the room became known as the branded room. So when they take this out, they apply electric oil at the chest. So they stamp it. For identification purposes. And people were dying as a result of the shock and pain. And those who survived were put back in chains, in 5, in 10s, and in 15s. And they walked this way. Now let's go this way. As we get along, you will notice that the entrance is short. So you are compelled to bend down and take a step down. Like this.
Okay,
But a lot of people will sometimes go. I'll tell you the number of people. And the second is, I said there was no education at so just what that. So then try to find one another. another time can take another time and just listen. Not everybody will come in. But no, none of them had any idea about what was going on in the castle. Because before the camera,
Watch your head. So, the women who survived were coming from this point, and the men also came from that end. So together, they met here. And over here too, when they met, and even you see any of your relatives, being your mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, even your own child, you are not allowed to talk to the person. So even if you see the person, the best you can do was to cry and cry and cry. And from this point, we get to the final stage. Now, as we move on, you will see that the entrance becomes short. Yeah. So over here, too, you are compelled to bend down. Now, when you bend down, don't forget to take 4 steps before you get up. Now, if you don't count 4 before you get up, you could hit your head. We have a very thick wall here. You could hit your head with it. So you bend down, take about 4 steps, then you are good to go. Right? So bend down, count about 4. Now, after warning you, I will not be responsible for anyone.
When you bend down, take 4 steps. When you are not here. You are not here when it was. You weren't here when he was warning us. Bend down. You take 4 steps.
Oh, for me?
Yeah, 4 steps.
Oh, for me, I don't need to bend.
You're already short. Four steps. Well,
And I want to be sure. Okay.
All right.
Oh, let me see the animals.
Okay. On my area. That's it. Can you free my game?
All right. So we are at the final point in the whole process, meaning simply that nobody enters this room and went back from here to the boat, and that is it. Because of that, I always tell people that in the life of a captive, life never got better. No, it got worse. It got worse. In other words, each stage will be more severe than the previous. Yes, there was difficulty walking down several miles to the castle. Yes, but it was better walking than being in the dungeons, sleeping in your feces, not getting as much as food you wanted. Yes, it was brutal in the dungeon, but it was better in the dungeon than in the ships. The ships where spaces could be between 25 to 30 inches high. People were made to lie side by side, unable to move and unable to sit up. Hands and legs were in chains. People were defecating and urinating all over themselves. Instances where one could not even get his own hand to clean his own mouth. Yeah. And women were even raped, sometimes up to the point of death. Yeah. And it was regular and normal occurrence for a slave to wake up to see another person dead by himself. Yeah. And people were dying because of how they were even closely packed together. Yeah. It was normal and it was regular. You know this man called John Newton, who this song is accredited to? Amazing Grace. Yeah, John Newton, who this song is accredited to Amazing Grace. He used to be one time a slave trader. And when he was describing the interior of the ship, this is what he had to say. He said they were closely packed together like books in shelves. He said he has one book, a shelf, that a book wouldn't allow another to be put on because the space is full. But a white man who has been given a ship to pack Africans packed them to his advantage, such that no little space was even left. And there's this guy called Richard. He said at times he saw pregnant women giving birth to babies whilst changed to corpses because the drunken overseas has not come to remove them. Yeah.
So from here we go to the ship, eh?
Yeah, we go to the ship. So let me tell you about it before we go. So when the ships had arrived, they are anchored at what we call the jetty. Then smaller boats were brought close to the castle. At the time, the seawater was touching the walls of the castle. It is now receded. Experts are attributing it to the movement of the earth, so it is natural. And also, we are told because of the developmental project that is going on there, especially with the sea defense, they have shifted the sea back, so it is also understandable. Meaning that they brought smaller boats close here, and these men and women, as they were in chains, descended on steps into this small boat, then from the small boat to the bigger ships, and that is it. Out of this portal, it is estimated that each year 30,000 captives made their way out of this. So if the trade went on for 400 years, we are talking about 12 million of them. This does not include those who died on the way, those who even died in the source, and those who even died in the sea. Now, when they were trading in gold and ivory and other stuffs, the gate was from this point to this end. Now, when this evil trade started, they narrowed the gate to this size. And the narrow nature of this gate must not deceive us into thinking that fat people were not captured. Yeah, they brought in big people. But you can just understand, staying in the dungeons without much food as they wanted. Before the ships arrived, most could easily fit. Yeah. Now, you look all around, you could see reeds. And as I said, each year we had a program here called Panafest. And as part of that, we say all kind of prayer, allow people to live with. And that is why you see wheat all around. Any question? And from the time we started laying the wheat, I asked
What is this?
Yeah, when they were trading in gold and other stuffs, the door was up to that end. Yeah, up to this end. But when they started the slave trade, they narrowed it into this size. So all these places were holes that they filled it. Yeah, to get this. Yeah. And from the time we started laying reeds, I require from my guests that whenever we get to this point, we observe a minute of silence for the departed soul. Why do I say that? I say that because those who died and those who even fought and were killed, those who refused to eat and they died, and those who even jumped into the sea, did all that they were doing just to go through that ship. And they did that not only because they wanted to, but they did that and protested with their souls. And those who survived never survived because they were too strong. Some made up their mind to go through that shame, that pain, that degradation, to have a story to tell someday. Yeah. So within just a minute, let's observe a minute of silence. May their souls rest in perfect peace. And when we say, I say that don't just say that with your mouth, but at least wherever we find ourselves, we should try as much as possible. And in everything that we are doing, we should do it to the extent that this evil shall never occur again. Thank you so much. Now we are making our way out. So the same way, you bend down, take some steps, then away you go.
I thought you were going through here.
No, you can't go through here. You go through there, you can't come back. It's a game.
The gate of no return, so when you go, you can't return.
All right. Then let's continue from the governor's residence, please.
Yeah, I know that space at that point.
So let's go this way.
Yeah.
Even the bedroom.
Like all this space.
Yeah, hello? Maybe I'm the one who fair guy, and I can check. Yeah, man. Need to make a sound. Yeah, no, my fair. All right.
So this is the trapdoor through which the selected women used to come out to the governor's bedroom.
Yeah,
From
down.
from the down, she walked here, up on the stairs here. Then when the governor has raped her, she walked through down the steps. Back into the cool, that entrance. So at the time there was a student here whose major preoccupation was to lift those. So let's go. Right, we are in the kitchen, and this used to be the kitchen for the governor, where his sumptuous meals, that of the soldiers, the merchants were prepared. Yeah, when this was built by the Portuguese, when the Dutch were here, they never used this kitchen, so they had their own built. So this is a Dutch kitchen. Let's watch it. Right there. They are afraid of them. No, what the Dutch put not on the Portuguese. So they put Portuguese at one end. And they did not want to use. I don't know whether that was also poison, but so they decided to do that.
So this is freedom kitchen?
You don't show a picture. They actually took picture into that. We're going to use it.
Wow. Yeah, man. They had choices.
Yeah.
Choices. They didn't have any choice.
All right, we are in a church. And this used to be the church for the Dutch. As I intimated down there that the Dutch never used the church the Portuguese laws. They had this one built. And because they were Protestant and the Portuguese were Catholic, they never wanted to do anything with them. So they built this. So this became known as the Dutch Reformed Church. And as a church, they had this to see. This is taken from the Holy Bible, Psalm 132, verse 13. And it is written in Old Dutch. And it says that Zion is the Lord's resting place. It is here he resides. Surprisingly, whilst they were here worshiping, the female captives were directly below the wall. Now let's continue from this.
Like we're at the manager's times 10 residence. I'm drinking English vodka with grape juice. We're over here, so I gotta take a seat next to the manager. Manager, may I sit next to you, sir?
Yes.
I'm sitting next to the manager. No, Vida, Sika, I want you to take that, Sika.
You have to say it in there.
Okay? So, no, you
say
have.
that again.
Fawi.
Sika, Fawi. Fawi, Sika. No, if you don't like that, call me back. Look what Dorrit is drinking. We're gonna tell the minister, we're gonna tell the pastor. See what she's drinking? Look at that. See the liquor she's drinking? She's drinking that and Belvedere vodka. Okay? She's at the seaside drinking vodka. Imagine that. And listening to a Jamaican band. Courtesy of the manager.
I can see it in her eyes, the way she smiles.
Welcome back again. I'm at Kotoka Airport in Ghana, and the time now is 20 minutes to 12 midnight, and we're waiting for a flight onto Dakar, Senegal, and the flight departs at 1:05 and the 3 hours and 5 minutes flight into Dakar. The flight is on time. The people here are so nice. I wish TSA in my country was as courteous as these people are. However, it's kind of warm here, and we're just sitting back, chilling, waiting for the plane to arrive, because it said that the schedule is on time and it's a 1:05 departure. Thanks for watching. Watch the space.